Hello, YouTubers. Joe Kersey here on uh, on uh, uh, on well, now it's still December 24th, 2018 at 20:40 in the evening Eastern Time. Although for those of my English viewers, it's now well on to Christmas Day. And for the few people in Australia that watch me, hell's fire, they're probably off into Boxing Day or some damn thing. I don't know. So today's been a fairly, I do what I've done pretty much every Christmas Eve day since I retired. I retired in 1991, so I've probably tried to spend every Christmas Eve morning listening to 9 lessons and carols from King's College, Cambridge. Which I did today. Now, the current choir director, well, now soon not to be current choir director because he's retiring, Stephen Cleaberry, made a habit of commissioning a new carol every year to be sung at the 9 lessons and carol service in the late afternoon on Christmas Eve in King's College Chapel, Cambridge, England. Now, unfortunately, most of those commissioned carols sounded something like this. I think 3 out of the last 5 years I've listened to this service, I've had to just shut it off because I can't stand that crap. So this was his last year. I don't know who they're gonna get in there to do this again. I don't know, man. Maybe there's no mandate to do a commissioning of a new carol every year. Maybe this is something Cleaberry did. Anyway, by golly, this service, although you could tell there were about 3 sort of like, almost but not quite awful things. Because they like to reprise some of the commissioned works, from time to time. I'd have to say that, the bulk of the service was like traditional carols, traditional singing. I will say that the choir, particularly the non-testicle drop boys' voices, we're doing, really good yeoman work this year. I mean, because that's going to be. I mean, you can't get a constant pool of these guys to sing in the choir, but they clearly had a really good one this year, so this was a good service. I was delighted. It comes on at 10 Eastern Time. It goes for about an hour and a half or more. And, and of course, all the words, all the songs, so you can sing along with it. Hell, I know all the words, all the readings. So I can say the words of the readings, because they use the actual authorized version of the Bible, i.e. the King James Bible. None of this, paraphrase crap. More of that anon. Great stuff. So I had a great Christmas Eve morning. I really did. Thanks be to God. No shit. I want that. I want that engraved on my tombstone. Thanks be to God. No shit. It's true. Um, so I was just trying to, Well, I want to catch up on my YouTube channels that haven't been able to look at for a while. So I did my best on that for a while, and then my friend Tony Pincham in England had said that he likes to watch this Buckham Abbey or what? Oh, I can't remember what. Well, I might put that in the description. Maybe not. The Buckham Abbey. He's gonna put a video up tomorrow of me watching the service. It's a Benedictine Abbey in Cambridgeshire, and but it's Roman Catholic. Now Tony's not a Roman Catholic, but he's sort of well, he's not a Roman Catholic. I'm not a Roman Catholic. But I have a great deal of respect for all these kinds of church services. So, I don't know how he's going to edit this thing tomorrow. Maybe if he leaves out stuff, I'll have to add some, stuff that we talked about. But it was great. I mean, we watched the entire service. He ended up showing me the service from his television. He just turned the video camera on his television. He tried to do a direct feed, but that didn't work, and from Skype, and that was great fun. I mean, gosh, it's just so beautiful. All this stuff's so beautiful, and worship the God in the beauty of holiness, Yeah, it's great, great stuff. I mean, what a blessing, what a gift. Now I read next Sunday. I'm not didn't go to church tonight. I'm not going to go to church tomorrow. I'm not reading at either of the three services. But I am reading on the 30th, next Sunday. I assume I'm reading the first Sunday in the year, because I usually read the first Sunday of each month. So I don't know, we'll see. I'm not going to mention that. I will say that a couple in our parish have had a tremendous tragedy. So sad. Involved a child of theirs committed suicide. Just sad, just beyond words sad. Nothing more to say. Nothing more to say. How sad for them. How sad for the individual that felt compelled to commit suicide. I know no other details, nor would I reveal them, but it's just Thomas's best friend from high school committed suicide, and he's a very talented artist. I mean, he just lived a mile down the road from me, and he was over at the house a lot. Well, not a lot, but a lot by the standards of anybody coming by my house. And he was just a talented guy, really interesting, talented guy. But he didn't want to take his schizophrenic drugs because he says it didn't make him feel like himself. I mean, he said, well, if he took the drugs, he didn't feel like himself. And he said he finally wanted to be like him. He wanted to be himself again, finally. And hell, I understand that. I can respect that. I don't agree with the decision necessarily, but I can respect that line of reasoning, I mean, there's a lot of things that happen to me that I don't feel like myself, but I don't want to kill myself. I can honestly say I've never thought about killing myself. No. I mean, I have any number of ways to do it, but I'm not going to, I haven't thought about doing it at all. He did a good job of it. I'm not going to go into that, but it's like, God bless him. Now, I will say that there was one he was cremated. And, no, you're in a box, a wooden box. Actually, it wasn't a little wooden box because he was a big guy. So one of Thomas's friends said, "I can't believe they got Pete, all of Pete into that box." Now, a Roman Catholic deacon officiated to this guy's funeral. It's like a suicide. So, it's like, of course, there's been a recent nonsense about a Roman Catholic priest saying at a funeral of a suicide that was like, problematic or something. Fine. It's like, anyway, this guy handled it, I thought, in a very gracious way, he says. The deacon said, this man he's 28, 29 when he did this. This man had a disease. The disease won. And it killed him. Now, it turns out that the way the disease won is he ended up killing himself. But the disease won. The disease is what did it. The disease killed him. He was, depressive schizophrenic. If he took his drugs, he was okay, but he wasn't nearly as fun. If he didn't take his drugs, he was great fun. And he felt like himself. And, of course, that was his point. Let those with ears hear and ponder. I don't have any recommendation. I am merely reporting what happened. He was a good guy. He left a lot of unhappy people behind. Now, on the other hand, should you adjust your actions in life as far as what's going to happen when you leave people behind? Some people say yeah. Some people say no. Some people say, well, I am merely but a simple country anesthesiologist. Then one night, my good son and Dill, my daughter-in-law, Dill's the daughter-in-law, and her dad, and I guess my ex-wife's, one of my ex-wife's best friends, are over at Thomas's house, Thomas and Kelly's house, doing the Christmas Eve stuff that he and his mother and so forth used to do. That's fine. They did notify me that I was welcome to come down, and that Kelly had made a lasagna. I'm going to tell you, I've had some of Kelly's lasagna, and that's just like fantastic lasagna. You can't. I mean, that's like amazing lasagna. I actually learned to make that from her mother, now who's sadly gone, but traditions live on. So there we are. But I didn't want to take an Uber down, and I just got done attending church at Buckworth Abbey with Tony. So I mean, other things are afoot, so yeah, no, that's great. No, I didn't take an Uber back. No, it's nice of them to ask me, though. I didn't acknowledge. I didn't get back to him in an email, but that's okay. Well, okay, that's what happened, or didn't happen, more accurately. Man, I really fucking hate Christmas. I hate Christmas as a, other than the religious and liturgical aspects of Christmas, I really hate Christmas. I really, really hate Christmas. I may revisit something here. When I was a surgical resident in 1970, well, it was 1975. Winter of 1975, December of 1970, Christmas Eve, 1975. I got a phone call at my house on North 4th Street, Columbus, from a patient who had been on the vascular service about 2 days ago, 2 days before. He's a nice guy. I mean, all these older guys on the vascular service, they're all nice guys. There's blood flow going to their legs when they come in, and sometimes when they leave, they get some blood flow going back to their legs, so they're happy, And so this guy had left the floor when we discharged him home on a regimen of warfarin, i.e. Coumadin. And then he had to get his. Ideally, then you're going to get a prothrombin time drawn every 2 or 3 days for a while, so you can establish what the level of dosage should be. Well, of course, he was discharged home, I don't know, December 22nd, 23rd, 22nd, 21st. So he had to have a prothrombin time drawn by 23rd, at the latest, or 24th at the very latest. All right? And, all right. Nowadays, it's a bit different, but that's the way it was then. All right. And so somehow this guy got hold of my home phone number. Okay. And he said, I tried to call so-and-so, I tried to call so-and-so, I tried to call so-and-so, and they wouldn't let me come in. They wouldn't even let him come into the hospital and have his blood drawn at the hospital. Well, but at that point, we were starting to get a major snowstorm coming in. This was the big sort of like snowstorm coming in, and he said, I don't know how much Coumadin to take, or warfarin to take. Coumadin, they was called him Coumadin. I said, well, you need to get Proton. He said, well, no, there's no way I can get it. He says, he had tried. So I thought to myself, well, the only way this man's going to get a Proton so he can adjust his doses for me to drive out there and draw his fucking blood and have the lab run it and tell him how to adjust his dose. I've told this story before, but it's worth repeating given the nature of people that work on Christmas, Thanksgiving, Easter, 4th of July, Memorial Day, all the holidays, and do what they have to do what they have to do, I'm not presenting myself as a hero. I'm presenting myself as somebody that just did his job. So I said to my ex-wife, my now ex-wife, Faith, now dead, God bless her, on Christmas Eve, Because she always wanted to do this whole Christmas Eve shit. You know. That's fine. That's fine. I said, this man has no one else to help him. I've got to go out there and draw his blood and get a value for him and adjust his meds. Of course, then you got the why can't and this, that, and this, you know. I said, I don't have any time for this. The snow's piling up. I've got to get going. So I went down to the hospital and I got the appropriate blood drawing stuff for to draw the stuff, you know. And I went, and this is before this is before all the little phone stuff where you could, you know, just have the thing talk you into the place, you know. So I had my map, you know, to find my way to this guy's house, and I didn't have a cell phone then, by the way. I mean, there were no film. It's like you said I'm on my way, and then they waited for you. Okay, that's how that worked then. Okay, this is 1975. Okay, December, and so I got there, and of course it was like your standard Christmas. You got all the multicolored big lights on the tree and things. Oh, how wonderful of you to come! And it's great. It's great. It was like this. It wasn't like, you know, fuck you. You know what took you so long? It's like, oh, you're so wonderful. You know, it's like great. And look, let me just draw this blood, and I'm going to run this back to the lab, and I'll call you, or as it turned out, I came back and I had to talk to him about, because by that time, various phone services and things were done. Anyway, so I went and I drew the blood. I went back to Ohio State. They got, you know, and then of course I called in so many favors to have the lab do this without, you know, setting out a formal bill. I mean, it's like, you know, nowadays it'd be like, oh, how are we going to put the computer? How are we going to, you know, log this? So I was like, then you could just go in and the guy would take your word for it. The way most life should work, honestly, guys, most life should work that way. Give your word. You know, I wasn't trying to screw anybody over. I was trying to help this guy. I did actually end up helping this guy. And so I went out, and it turned out, man, he needed a massive reduction in his Coumadin and warfarin. Yeah. And I said, well, you know, and then I did arrange an actual appointment for him, you know, where it wasn't going to be like everybody's knocking off because it's holiday season, you know. And I got home and it was like, I left around 6:30. I got home around 11:30, I think, when I got back home. Well, my wife was in bed. My son was in bed. I didn't eat anything. There's some shit on the stove. I don't know. There might have been some crap in this refrigerator. Had a few bites. Well, I was working tomorrow. I was on call Christmas Day. So I knew about 2 or 3 days or 2 or 3 hours I had to be up, and then I'd be there. I'd be over all night. So after about 2 or 3 hours, I got up, and then I went down, and I spent Christmas Day at the hospital, and then I didn't come home until 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock at night on December 26th. See, that's how it works, guys, when you take care of people. That's how it works when you take care of people. You may not like it. Hell, I didn't like it necessarily. But that's what you do. Okay? Anyway, I do appreciate being asked to. I do. I know I make everything I know every time I say something seriously I sound sarcastic, but I don't mean that. Thank you for inviting me to your Christmas Eve evening things there, Thomas and Kelly. I appreciate that. I do. I appreciate that. Appreciate that. I do. I don't know what else to say. I appreciate it. Yeah. Oh, that felt better. Oh, I don't know if you can hear that or not. I can hear it. Okay, I'm going to say bye-bye, YouTube.